Hello, I'm MrDrButthurt, and I've been working on a tabletop RPG named Nomalous. This video and its contents are for the 0, 8, 10 playtest. There are links for the playtest, Discord, and other things related to either myself or Nomalous in the description. I'm going to keep this intro short and get into the video's topic, character creation. Alright, so we're going to be making a character for Nomalous using the Anomalous Derivatives Directive. We are also going to be using the digital character sheet that has been included in the Google Drive with the documents. If we go all the way to the back of the directive, you can find this character sheet in this link right there. So that is what we'll be using to make this character. So we'll take a look here. We're going to be looking in the character creation and rules section here. We're going to start off in ability scores. I'm going to skip the concepting part because we're not really going to go into creating like the backstory of the character or anything like that. We're just going to be going over the using of the directive to fill out the character sheet so that way you know where things go and how to enter certain things to build your character. We're also going to be loosely covering the character sheet. There is another video that covers the extensiveness of this character sheet and what each one of these little boxes do. I will cover a little bit of it, but again, there is a video that covers all of that stuff already, so I'm just going to kind of skim over some of the functionality of the character sheet. So we'll start off with ability scores. So we're going to scroll past this, and we are going to be looking at our starting ability scores. Here is how we will roll for our starting abilities. So we're going to roll a d4, we're going to roll a second d4 and subtract from the first one. This will give you anywhere between a -3 and a +3. We're going to do that 8 times. And then we are going to use 6 of the 8 scores that we just made and place them. We'll go ahead and get started with that. I am going to use my notes here on my notes tab to sort of write down my rolls that I do. You can do this on a piece of paper or what have you, but I mean, anywhere you can just keep track of these. So we're going to go ahead and start rolling. So we got some big numbers. We got some bad numbers. Shouldn't be too rough, honestly. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get rid of the -3s. So we can get rid of those. We got a 2, 2 1s, and 3 -1s. So we'll go ahead and go back to our character sheet here. 2, we got a 1, we got a 1, and we got a -1, -1, and -1. So those aren't going in any order there or anything like that. We're just I'm just putting them on this page so that way we know where they're at. We can keep track of them and use them for our next section that we're doing. So if we go back, we are going to be looking at our species and our classes. So I'm going to middle mouse click on species to open us up in another page here. So we got our species, take a look at all those guys, and then we're going to go and look at our classes. So this guy, we're going to make a wizard. We're going to fling some spells here. I think we got some good scores for a wizard. Over here on the character sheet where it says Bruiser, there's a little drop down arrow. You're going to click on that. We're going to go down and select Wizard. That'll change our caster ability. That'll change like our hit points per level, our skill points per level, a couple of our different attacks, our base bonuses here, along with our checks, and our hit points and all that good stuff. So that way that'll just automatically calculate for you, along with skill points and things like that, but we'll get to that later. So is what we're looking at here is we get a bonus talent, we get our energy. So our max energy is going to be equal to our intelligence +1. So we'll go ahead and we'll go to our inventory page where we document our class and talent notes. And we're going to put here that we get our energy +1. So that's something we get. We get a bonus talent. So we'll do class bonus talent so we can keep an eye on that. We get energy attack base of 1 and energy defense base of 1. So is what we'll do is we'll go check and make sure that this calculated automatically. So this will automatically fill out. It'll even adjust these per level or per row as you level up. So for instance, if we went to like level 4, all of these changed. It automatically calculated our level 4 hit points. A lot of this automatically calculates itself for you. So less time looking at the character or the class creation sheet, more time actually playing and role playing and enjoying it. But we're going to go back to level 1. So because since we're creating a level 1, we are going to, looks like we have some spells here too. We'll check those real quick. So we're going to go down here to our selected spells tab, and we're going to take a look and make sure everything lines up here. So on the character sheet, we have the spell tiers. So up here, we're going to kind of be looking up here. We have the spell tiers themselves. So 0 through 6. The spells known per tier. These will automatically fill out like depending on what level you are. This is the total number of prepared spells we have selected, and this is the max amount of spells that we can prepare. This part right here is it's a legacy piece of the character sheet. Don't worry about it. You can ignore that for all purposes right now. Up here does have some more information. All of that's covered in the character sheet video, so I'm not going to go into that too much. If we look here, we can prepare a maximum of 3 spells. So prepared maximum of 3 spells looks correct. We have 4 tier 0 spells, 4 tier 0 spells, and 2 tier 1 spells. So that is just making sure that all of that is correct. We are good there. And the other thing on here that we have to look at is the exclamation mark. And if we scroll down to the bottom, the exclamation mark is we get a base combat score point. This is referring to the base combat score point that we get, which we'll go over here in a little bit. But I just wanted to kind of let you know that there are other symbols here that let you know that you get something at a certain level. So there's one more thing we want to look at here. We have our caster ability. So if we go back to our character sheet here, our caster ability is intelligence. Caster ability is intelligence. That is correct. And then our proficiencies are we got these untrained guys, and armor is unarmored, which will be at the bottom here. So this will automatically fill out for you so you know what you can use and what you're good at. We will touch up on a talent here in a little bit. We're going to go ahead and look at what we want to select as our species. I think we'll go as gnome. Since we're gnome, we'll get low light vision. So we got low light vision. And low light vision is explained there for us. So we'll go ahead and put a page number here, just in case if we need to look back at it again. Speaking of page numbers, we are going to go back here and we are going to put in our class page number. So that is going to be 31, which we have the page numbers up here in the top in each corner. Each corner has the page number just for ease of view. So we'll put our page number here, which is 31. That way, just in case we need to quick reference it, we know exactly where to go. We can go in here and we can type up at the top here in the document, we can type 31 and it'll take us straight to this page. We know exactly, what we need to do. We will then scroll down here. This is a little bit more information about the class and how certain things work. Like these special abilities that you get as you level up, and this will go over casting with the wizard, and it's how to do your spell preparation and all that fun stuff. So now that we got that kind of hammered out, we don't necessarily need this right now anymore. We'll take this all the way back to the top, just leave this one here, and we'll go back to our civil species. So, like I said, we were going to do gnome. So over here, we'll go ahead and put gnome. We will just enter in. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these guys. I'm not going to have a name or a campaign name or the derivative name of the character. We're just going to leave those blank. So if you want to end up using this, you can. This will be under the pre-made characters. It will be the video tutorial characters. So you'll be able to go in here. There's the rogue from our last one. This one's the wizard. So you will be able to use that if you want. We're going to go ahead and continue here, though, and I'm going to go fill these out real quick, and then we will move forward. All right, so we'll go ahead and just leave this as it is. Filled it in with just some basic, like, ages, heights, weights. One thing I do want to focus on is the size. The gnome will be a small character, so we want to make sure that we know that it's small. And then I usually put the height in with the size. So the small characters will do different damages with different weapons, but that's about all you have to worry about with the small size as of right now. So now that we got that hammered out, we will be looking at our ability positives and ability negatives. So we'll be looking at these two guys, which will line up right here. So we get a +1 to intelligence, so we're going to go ahead and put 1 in there, and then we get a +1 to wisdom, put that there, and then we will get a -1 to strength and constitution. So we got -1 to strength and a -1 to constitution. Just as a heads up, when constitution goes negative, it will not affect your max hit points. Your max hit points will not go down due to a negative constitution, but it will go up. So for instance, if we had a 1 constitution, your hit points will go up. So we're going to set that back to -1. So now that we have our species bonuses in there, we can go ahead and start putting in our abilities that we rolled. So is what we can do here is this one is going to be kind of fun. We're definitely going to put our 2 in on intelligence, so that will be a total of 3. I am putting these all in the base, by the way, so that way as we get bonuses from gear, miscellaneous, manual overrides, or a temporary bonus, and even points that you get when you level up, we can keep them all separate and understand where our bonuses are coming from. Our totals here we do not want to touch because they are all being calculated based off of these additions here. I mean, you can adjust it if you want, but these spots here are being looked at by multiple locations on the character sheet. So we got the 2 done. So we'll put the 1 in the dex, another 1 in the wisdom. So we have used these 3 already, and we have put that one there, that one there, and that one there. So now we have to put another negative here, so this will put us to -2. This will be -2, and then charisma will be -1. So we're not going to be doing too much talking. We're going to be trying to stay out of anything involving physical combat, considering our constitution and strength are low, which are the basis for our fortitude checks. This is a -3 right now. The reason why that's a -3, if we go to our wizard page, 31, we are currently getting a 1 fortitude from our row here, which will automatically calculate in. You don't have to put that in at all. That's automatically calculated in this total here. That's also to how we're getting the will of 2. We have a -1 from charisma. We have a 2 from wisdom, which brings it down to a 1. But then we also get a 1 just from being a level 1 wizard, which will give us the 2. Same thing for reflex. Reflex is from intelligence and dexterity. So our reflex is pretty high because primarily our intelligence. And you'll see that too down in our initiative as well down here. We're getting our bonuses from our energy attack base and our energy defense base. Those both are affected by our intelligence caster ability. So that'll be 3 + 1 will give us 4, and then 3 + 1 will give us 4 for the energy and attack and defense. Our initiative bonus is based on our intelligence and our dexterity. So we're going to probably go first whenever we're rolling for initiative. And we're just going to hope we're going to be able to get rid of the problem before it becomes too much of a problem where they get too close. All right, so now that we got these guys kind of out of the way and these guys out of the way, we also have skill points. We are going to go back real quick and check and make sure that we are getting all of everything that we need. So before all of the classes, there is what a level 1 derivative is going to get. We'll go back. There's a reason why we're going back to this kind of after we've already added all of our abilities. So we've covered our hit points, our starting skill points. So we'll get our class skill points, which is 6, plus our intelligence, which is 3, and then we double that. So we will start off with 18 points. If we look at our skill points down here, our current skill points right here will let us know how many we have. Max skill points is the max amount of these points we can put into a skill. That is calculated by your current level plus 4. So these two will adjust as you level up. So like, let's say we were at a level 3, get more skill points, skill max goes up. So we'll go back to level 1. Weapon and armor proficiencies we already went over, so we're good there. Select the base combat score. So that is that one base combat score is the one I was talking about on our character page, or on our class page. So if we go back to 31, that's what this exclamation mark represents. So we got that guy. That will show up, that 1 point will show up here for us. So as we level up and continue to progress, it looks like we get another one at level 3. So if we go to level 3, you'll notice that our base combat score points has increased to 2. So this will automatically be added in for you. We'll go back to our level 1 here. So we have that 1 point that we need to adjust, and then we will move on to languages. So we will know common for basic communication, and there's a couple languages here that we can choose from. We get bonus languages based off of our intelligence score. So since we have a 3 intelligence score, we're going to know a few languages. So that's what we'll go ahead and start with first, since we'll be looking here and we can copy and paste off of this. The rest of these are all calculated on the sheet itself, and we won't really need to know. We've already checked most of this stuff off. We have these values already on the character sheet itself, so we really don't need that part. But yeah, going back to languages, we will go up here, and then in our inventory tab, campaign bonus, special bonus, and languages. We'll just go ahead and put languages here. All right, now that we have that all hammered out, we're going to add our base combat score point, which is that 1. We will be putting that into one of these cells in this column. We're going to just go ahead and put it in energy. We're going to put all of our, actually, we're actually going to put it in physical defense. So we're going to try to make our physical defense a little bit better. Probably won't be wearing too much armor. The higher physical defense that we can get to at least take some of the blows might be useful. We're going to go ahead and move on to our skills here. So with skills, most of the time you'll be either going off of the backstory of your character on what your character has learned or what they used to do. You could also go off of what your party needs, or you could just do a bunch of fun stuff, things that you might enjoy doing, or things that you might think would help move roleplay along. So since we're a wizard, and unfortunately since we have a bad charisma, we're getting a negative in a lot of our purple charisma based skills here. Just as a side note, these abilities here automatically get added in. So you do not have to worry about adding anything there. This automatically gets populated based off of the total ability up here. So these all get populated in and get added into your totals here. Same thing with your passive. Your passives always get updated as well. There is a formula being ran on each one of these guys. So whenever you're using your passive skill or your passive value, it'll be over here for you. But right now, we're going to check our points out. We are also going to be looking at concentration. Concentration is a big one for spellcasters. If a spellcaster takes damage while they're trying to cast a spell, so if they're casting a spell too close to a target and it provokes an action of opportunity, and the entity that gets that action decides to attack, the spellcaster has to make a concentration check based on the amount of damage that they take. So we are going to put some points in here. And as you can see, whenever I'm adding these points in here, it's automatically subtracting from our skill point total up here. So that way we can keep track of how many skill points we've used and how many we have left. We can do some different knowledges here. So we'll go take a look at the skills knowledges page. So skills, and we'll scroll down to knowledge. Knowledge is pretty easy to find because it's got a big old block at the bottom of it like this with the different types of knowledge here. We are going to do probably some mysticism. So I like to put a K with a dash so we know it's a knowledge. Probably knowledge religion would be helpful. Extraterrestrial for sure. We'll do linguistics too. That way, just in case we run into anybody, we can try to figure out what they're actually trying to say. It may not be covered in your languages, but at least you can maybe have a conversation and use that higher diplomacy that we have in there. So we're just going to go ahead and we are going to put 2 points in mysticism, 1 in religion, 1 in extraterrestrial, and 1 in linguistics. That's going to give us a good bit of information here. The rest we are going to put in mysticism. So that's more of like knowing the magic, using the magic. Now, since we have our skills hammered out, we are going to go back and we're going to check out our talents. So we got a class bonus talent here. The reason why I put so many points into mysticism for us is because that is very crucial to this talent right here. We need to have a caster ability of 2. So if we look in our caster abilities intelligence, we got a 3. That's more than 2. This talent allows us to enchant superb items using bismuth. So if the item quality is superb, we can start adding enchantments to it. So that's one that we are going to go ahead and take. It's not going to help us early game, but it's good to know that you're going to be an enchanter, so that way you can kind of weave your spells and the rest of your skills as you level up into supporting that enchantment. So we're going to go ahead and put this in our class bonus talent, bismuth forger, and then we're going to put the page here as well. So the page will be, as we scroll down here, energy talent, bismuth forger. We go here, craft items using the mysticism spell. Skill enchanting is covered in part 4 enchanting section. So we're going to go down here. We're going to go down to our enchanting, and enchanting starts on page 208. So we'll just go ahead and put 208 in there. Not going to cover enchanting right now. There is quite a bit to it, but in the long run, starting enchanting early will definitely prepare you for more late game fun. So now that we have our everything else filled out there is one more thing we need to look at before we move on to equipment. We're going to double check this real quick. We're going to check retcon tokens. So we did our hit points, skills, weapon and armor proficiencies. We put our base combat score in. That was over here. We did all of our languages and we did our skills last. So it looks like we got everything good there. We selected the talent from our class. Class gave us a bonus talent here, and we got our bismuth forger, so that way we can start enchanting as soon as possible. Looking pretty good. Next to the level 1 will be any progression. So this is just kind of goes through and lets you know how the progression works as well. Not going to cover that right now. When you level up, if you have any questions or anything like that, this is what you will be getting each time you level up. So the last one that we're going to be doing is the retcon tokens and how they're used. So these are basically reroll tokens. Boiled down to it, that's what they are. So we're going to choose a retcon leverage ability. If we use a retcon token on a roll that uses that ability, we will get a little bit of a bonus here, like it explains. We're going to definitely put our leverage ability as something we just do awful at. So we're going to be looking at either strength or constitution. Charisma is not too bad, but we kind of counteracted charisma down here, at least with some diplomacy. Probably going to keep it strength, just because that's our weakness. You can use the retcon tokens on any roll, but you just get a bonus whenever, the retcon roll involves strength. So we're going to go and start selecting our spells here. Looking at our spells, we have 4 tier 0, 4 tier 2. If we look at the spell table here, this is basically just going to let you know that the spell table is not going to be in the actual document. So the spell list is going to be in the same folder, the Google Drive folder that you found the character sheet in. So we'll go ahead and it's ADD spell right here. So we'll open that up and we're going to move that over so we can keep an eye on both of them, or both of our pages. We'll go back to our wizard here. So we have our tier 0 spells. Now, how we look at the spell list here is kind of a lot going on, but we have the tier here. It's all broken down from tier, style, type, what kind of check you need to make, how long it lasts, the range of it, a slight description, and then an in-depth description. Down at the bottom, we have it broken down into each class. So we're going to go over to wizard, and these are the wizard spells. So originally, just as kind of like a look back into it, these were all on the same page. They looked like this. So you can see where that came from. I ended up breaking that down so that way whenever you guys are looking for your spells, you don't have to figure out what's going on, which one's which. So we're just going to pick a couple of spells here, something that's going to be useful for our wizard here to survive. Alarm is always a good one. Highly recommend it. Basically, lets you. I'm not going to go into the spells. That's something that you can go and check out on your own. But I'm just going to pick a couple here that's going to hopefully keep our wizard alive. One thing I did forget to go over with you, though, is if we go back to our character sheet while we're on the subject of spells, we'll actually go here first. Sorry, our inventory. We're going to check our energy. One thing we kind of looked over was the energy. So currently it is intelligence +1. This does increase as you level up, but for now we have intelligence +1. Where this goes is going to be into your max energy. So we enter the max energy and then we know the regen amount. Max energy is the max amount of energy you can have. Regen is how much you regenerate per round. So per 6 seconds, essentially. What that is used for is whenever you're casting spells, certain spells require different amounts of energy. To do more damage with a spell, you would use more energy. Kind of break it down to where it's like, okay, cool, these spells require this amount of tactical points to cast. So that is essentially simulating the motions that you guys are doing to cast these spells, or the things you are saying. And then the spell potency, or the more it can do, or the more damage or more effective it is, increases with however much energy you can pump into it. Blue boxes let you know that effectively they can be channeled. A lot of an overwhelming majority of spells can be channeled, and that's where you would cast it with the TP. So it would cost you the tactical points to cast, then it would cost you the energy points the first time around. So like, let's say I'm just going to go over this real quick. First cast alarm. So it would cost you 3 tactical points and 1 energy point. Say you wanted to alarm like a little box or something like that. So you would use your 3 tactical points to cast it, the 1 energy point to cast it, and that would be done. So you would use that for the round. You can choose to continue using 1 energy point per round to keep that spell going. If you decide not to keep the spell going anymore, once you're done channeling it, or you stop channeling it, it then has a duration. So if it has a duration, that means after it stops being channeled, your duration will now kick in. If alarm like you channeled it for a round, or even if you cast it and didn't channel it, once it stops being channeled, the duration would kick in. So it would get, so the spell alarm would last 2 plus your level hours. So at this rate, you would be a level 1. After you cast alarm and stop channeling it, it would last for 3 hours. If you decided to cast alarm at a different object or in a different instance, though, the previous spell would no longer be active. So even though it has a duration of 3 hours, it would no longer be active. So you can only have one active instance of each spell at a time. It's a little bit of kind of a lot going in on there, but if you look at the that is covered a lot more in like lingering spells. We got that here. Casting spells, that's all on this spell page here. Known and verse prepared spells, which we'll get into now. So now that we know these spells, these are the spells that we know. As a wizard, they are required to prepare spells. Spell preparation is on your wizard page. So the wizard and how you prepare spells is here. But as far as the character sheet goes, we use this far left for prepared spells. We have a max prepared of 3, so we can prepare up to 3 spells. So we'll go ahead and we'll be like, now if we look up here at the top, we notice that our total prepared spells has increased to 3 and our max is 3, so we're done. That's as many prepared spells that we can have at this point. This is more for the player to keep track of what they have prepared and what they have. There is a lot to spells, but we are just going to be covering filling out the character sheet. We're not going to go over a lot of the rule sets here. This is just mainly for helping new players fill out a character sheet and moving on from that point. So our last little part that we got to do is we have to buy some goodies for our wizard. So our observing scribe is going to be nice and start us off with 150 gold. So we're going to put 150 gold in here. Now, being a enchanter, enchanters use bismuth to do enchanting. So I am going to take 100 of this gold and turn it into 1 ounce of bismuth. We're going to say that this mage started off with 1 ounce of bismuth. Bismuth, again, is used for enchanting, and it is also used for casting other spells. Some spells do require bismuth, such as resurrection level spells, or resurrection type spells, and adding permanency to some spells. Bismuth is used for that. And we're not going to get into it, but is definitely having some is not a bad idea. It's a good bartering chip as well, at least in the universe of Nomalous. The bismuth we have, we're going to hold on to. That gives us 50 gold pieces to do some purchasing here. We're going to take